Who doesn't like a good cup of coffee? I know I do. I drink a lot of it every single day. Hi, my name's Andrew Kordek. I'm with iPost. And what I wanted to do is share a franchise email series that sort of was sent to me over a few days. I didn't know this brand, to be honest with you. I didn't know of Scooters Coffee. And they're a franchise organization, I believe, out of Nebraska. And I wanted to just share my experience with you guys in email in the first three emails that I received from them. So, what I want to do is I want to share my screen, and I would love for you guys to just take a few minutes to share this journey with me. Um, what's really amazing about any sort of way that you onboard people who sign up, especially if you're trying to control the assets that are being used, making sure the message is getting across of really who you are. And Scooters Coffee does this in a really amazing way. Now, let me caveat this. I'm not here to critique the creative. I want to look at how they take me on a journey from the first email to the promise email, because I think that's really important. And the reason why I'm not here to critique the creative is really I don't know how these emails perform. I really don't. I'd love to learn a little bit more about how these emails perform, and maybe they perform beautifully, and we don't need to make any changes, or maybe there's always a ways to optimize them, and I think that's really important. So I'm going to point out the elements that I think are pretty fantastic. When you have this sort of sign up process, and this is what I did on Scooters Coffee's website, was I signed up, I joined their club, I got this first email, hey, Andrew Kordek, welcome to Scooters Coffee. It's a standard sort of first email out the gate, right? And I got it pretty quickly after I signed up. And then, really, a couple of minutes later, if you look at the timestamp, right? So I got this confirmation email, which would essentially basically say, hey, you're on the list, right? And then I kind of got this email a couple of minutes later, right, at 10:03, that just basically says, hey, this is going to be fun, right? Welcome to us. And one of the things that I really like about this sort of message. One of these things that I love about this message is they're using Scooter's employees, or at least I think they're using Scooter's employees, to send me this, hey, welcome to the club. That's important because if you think of through all of the different messaging that a company can do, they can use stock imagery of people drinking coffee. They can use a lot of different things. Immediately, I make this visual connection. I make this connection to what I would consider to be humanized, normal people, right? That are just waving at me like, hey, this is going to be fun, right? And then I can sort of save 10% online. And then what they do is they sort of label it out, right? And what I would consider a very easy way to scan the email. But more importantly, they're really zeroing in with me on, hey, what am I interested in? Flavored or just drinkware? And then again, you have what I would consider to be another humanized human, right, of an employee serving me coffee. That kind of makes me feel real good. So after I signed up, I get this email. And I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool, right? I sort of like this experience. And then the last thing they're going to do in a recovery module is, hey, you know what? Just don't participate. Participate with us in getting the app. Really cool call out here, right? We all know people are very interested in receiving rewards, right? When they buy coffee from whatever sort of coffee place that they love to interact with. So this call out of get the app at the end again makes me feel really good. Now, look, I don't know if I'm anywhere near any Scooters coffees. If I am, I certainly will do that. I'm located in the Chicago area. I've never seen one, but you darn well better know that when I travel, I'm going to go ahead and find the location. It looks really sort of inviting. Now, one of the things I want to point out is they could have ended it there. They could have just said, you know what? We're we've welcomed you to the program. We've acknowledged you. We've given you this welcome email. We could stop there and just start sending you promotions, but they didn't. So a couple days later, right? So if you notice, I received this initial welcome email on April 8th. On April 12th, I get this email. Our promise to you. I've talked about this for so many years about what any organization, and in this particular case, this franchise is talking about who we are. They're giving this sort of thing that I think COVID taught us, that we really want to make visual connections and what I would consider to be heartfelt connections with the organization. I want to know who I'm dealing with, right? And so what they did is they said, hey, here's Don and Linda Eccles. They opened up some drive-through in Bellevue, Nebraska. This is what we are, and this is our story. And this is what we promise to you to go forward. Man, they didn't have to do this, but they did. And I'm so appreciative of it. And they talk about hey, this is our brand promise. Man, can I tell you, I've spoken all over the world. And one of the things that we love to do is work with franchises at iPost that talk about you're in competition with all different other sort of franchises for the almighty dollar of the individual. You need to talk about who you are, separate yourself. And look what they talked about here. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Then they added that call to action of order now. You know, if you're a franchise and you're struggling with, hey, how do I start my email program out, right? I've got operators out there. I've got people who are franchise owners. They may not be the most savvy of marketers, or they may have a marketing team. But how do you separate yourself from perhaps your competition? Now they reuse the same image that they did in the welcome email, but you know what? That's okay, right? Because it came a few days later, and oftentimes you don't really remember visual imagery. I am an email geek, a dork, but I do. I remember this sort of thing. But if you look at some of the visual elements that they use in here to sort of draw you in, right? These coffee beans, right? They could have just used a plain old background. You could tell that they put a lot of effort into it and that they really want to tell you who they. I hope this email performs well for you, Scooters Coffee. I really do. I really love this email, and I hope that this is something that you continue to do throughout your email program. I'm going to be watching it, right? I'm going to be watching it. I haven't received too many other emails since when I signed up, but that's okay, right? I think it's important that this is the way to start out. So again, franchise, either whether you're an owner or you're working on the corporate side, this is kind of the way to do it, to introduce yourself, to separate yourself from other people. If you want to learn more about what iPost can do for the franchise industry, we'd love to help you out. We'd at least love to talk to you, right? And with that, I wanted to thank you for your attention. I want to thank you, Scooters Coffee, for giving me this opportunity to really showcase what you guys do for your customers or your potential customers. That's a very, very important thing. As always, thank you for your attention. I really appreciate it. And I hope that you continue to do better things in email marketing. Thank you.